别着急啊你！没事，等我。有警察，你怕什么呀？对呀，我操，这么多人在这里。主持人，赶紧给家里人打电话，跟妈妈一样。这怎么了？这是太吓人了！
各位旅客，这里是雾能广播，请您在座位上坐好，不必惊慌，感谢您的配合。
打死！他妈的，重开！不想重开吗？对不对？一辈子给他们努力挣打工。我不干！他要是把老子老给你更多钱，我犹太人，日本呀，买一条建立有那么贵吗？想想清楚吧。
Everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two but I am telling you right now, that back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can
human life form, regardless of nature or ultimate origin, that may be presumed responsible for UAPs or of which the federal government has become aware. And that very broad definition reminds me of the time when former CIA Director John Brennan said,
I think some of the phenomena we're going to be seeing continues to be unexplained and might in fact be some type of phenomenon that is the result of something that we don't yet understand and that could involve some type of activity that some might say constitutes a different form of life.
So what do you believe that we're dealing with? That they know about equipment and technology from other countries that they have kept secret? Or do you believe that there is any chance that the American government has knowledge of things they believe are not from Earth and they've kept it from the American people?
I've been told that that is the case by several Defense Department officials. I've been
that
told
it's not from this Earth, or they don't know from where it's from on this Earth.
I've been told that we have recovered technology that did not originate on this Earth by officials in the Department of Defense and by former intelligence officials. I've referred some of those officials to the office that's undertaking this investigation. Dave is another one of those individuals. He's decided to go public with his information. So there are credible people, and we have a direct conflict here between what Dr. Kirkpatrick is saying and what these other folks are saying, and Congress is in the middle, and they got to sort it out.
But what if for a moment mankind wasn't singular? Maybe just for a moment, it's mankind's plural. Are we as a society even prepared to have that conversation?
Lou, what do you believe to be the primary reason?
Look, Kurt, I'm
for lack of transparency.
Yeah, I'm a little more practical and probably a little bit more less optimistic for our species on this particular question. What if there was knowledge, Kurt, that was so volatile, so earth-shattering, that the mere knowledge of that getting out could predicate an action that could potentially threaten the entire species? Now, what do I mean by that? For just a moment, take off the scientific hat, take off your humanitarian hat, take off your philanthropic hat, and put on a hat of national security. We just talked about the fact that there's no indication that these things have been here to help us. Okay, so there's really only three possibilities: they're benign, or if you will, benevolent, or two, they are malevolent, they're here to hurt us, or three, they're just here to observe us, and they're capable of doing both good and bad like us. Well, if you were to put on your national security hat for a second, let's say you're a general from the 1950s or 60s, and your job is to protect America and all things good and great, and the height of the Cold War, and you've got the Soviet bear across there, and things are pretty tough, right? And nuclear proliferation is a real thing. Now you have information that there is something here that can outperform anything you have. And really, anything you have is rather ineffective from a national security perspective. And there's a thing out there, and it doesn't show that it's being benevolent. So it's only one of two other options: either malevolent or it's like us. And we see this very careful ISR surveillance of our nuclear equities. It's interested in nuclear equities. Well, some may look at that as what we call preparation for the battlefield. Okay. And let's just say hypothetically, there's a 10% chance, US has a 10% chance that these things are bad, or one day they're going to come here in force, and they're looking at us, right? Remember, you're putting on your national security hat. So forget about everything else for a moment. Your job is to be paranoid. And there's a small remote chance that these things are not good. And maybe there is a plan for these things at some point to come in force in 50 years from now. And if the mere fact you have this conversation with the American people, what's going to happen? Well, the American people are going to start getting prepared. Well, I can tell you in real life combat situations, when we send in long range surveillance LRS teams, behind enemy lines, the moment the enemy finds out that we know that they know we're there, the element of surprise is over. And so ultimately, hypothetically, imagine a scenario where maybe we had 50 years to prepare for something, but now that the cat's out of the bag, that existential action will happen tomorrow. And by the way, we're not ready for it. We're not prepared for it. We don't have a countermeasure. We don't have a capability to counter this. And so from a very real perspective, a national security perspective, the mere fact that you are acknowledging the existence of something may predicate an action or an act that you're not prepared to have right now. And so I encourage you and your listeners to just for a moment, I'm not asking you to be a national security person, but I'm asking you to suspend your personal beliefs right now for just a moment and put yourself in somebody else's shoes who does feel that way, right? Now, what do you do? If the mere fact of talking about this could potentially cause a reaction that you're not ready for as a country, as a civilization, right? Maybe that's the reason why you decide to only brief certain presidents who have a background in intelligence. Maybe they were former directors of CIA, but the other presidents who are career politicians will be, they're here today, gone in 4 years. Maybe you can't even risk telling them. So maybe the reason why this kept secret so long is
Ты прикинь, ебать его.